Hello again, gamers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm the Captain.
I'm Lynn.
And today we're going to be talking about and reviewing this new module for the Exit the Game series, The Gate Between Worlds. So first things first, I do want to thank Thames and Cosmos for sending us this copy of The Gate Between Worlds to check out and play and review. And also, if you're in a position to and like to support the channel, I have a link in the description down below to my Patreon. And if you'd like to get yourself some cool Board Game Captain merch, some gamer gear, there's a link to my Patreon store where you can get t-shirts, mugs, etc. And also, there's a link to BoardGameCaptain.com, which is a great hub for all things Board Game Captain, and we do some semi-regular blog posts over there. You can also comment on things. Go ahead, check it out. And now, without any further ado, we're going to be getting into the review of the Exit the Game, The Gate Between Worlds. Okay, before we get started, I want to throw this out there. Every once in a while I get comments where people get upset when we give obviously negative reviews to things. Some people get upset because we criticize things that, maybe somebody put a lot of hard work into. If you feel that way, I'm going to put a link up above to the last installment of the Exit the Game series that we reviewed, because that was a very positive review, and this one is not going to be. So if you're the kind of person who gets upset at negative reviews, watch that one. Don't watch this one, because there's going to be no hiding it. We're gonna be overall negative on this one, and we were both kind of in agreement on that. We've actually discussed this one a lot after playing it, because it was it was a rough experience. Mm-hmm. Would you agree?
Yeah. A lot of the puzzle solutions just didn't make logical jumps to get to the final solution.
So, yeah, we've got a lot of negatives to talk about. All right, so first let's... well, if you're stuck around at this point, you're ready and you're wanting to feed on our negativity. And we're down with that. That's cool. But if you're stuck around at this point, be aware this is going to be mostly negative. Okay, so the Exit the Game, The Gate Between Worlds is... Let me see, where's the listings?
Right here.
Oh, it is listed as a 1 to 4 players. We played it at 2. Ages 12 and up.
And so for 1 to 2 hours.
For 1 to 2 hours. How long did it take us to play?
We didn't time it, so...
I forget how. I'm not really sure.
And it's like 3 out of 5 on the novice to expert scale.
Yeah, whatever on that. All right, but here's the thing. This is... Now, they've been doing a lot of newer, more interesting things with the Exit the Game series. The other more recent Exit the Game we reviewed was one of the ones that had the jigsaw puzzles in it. Mm-hmm. This is not that. This is very much a throwback to the more basic style of Exit the Game games. It comes with a bunch of little tools and things you're going to use to solve the puzzles. I really don't want to... I'm going to show some pictures up on screen of some of them that don't give too much away. There's like envelopes you open when you're able to get clues to certain things.
It's like maps. It's not... It's
yeah, like, but they come like little folders or envelopes, and then you open up and they become a map.
It's just folded. It's not... There's nothing to break open.
Yeah, but when they're folded... Well, hold on.
It's
I got one
just
right
a
here.
piece of paper folded.
Yeah,
There's
but when it's
nothing
folded up, it kind of looks like... Here's one. It kind of looks like a folder to me. It kind of looks like a little... Like it's like a dossier. Like you've been given a dossier. Which I thought all of it looked cool. It played very much like the older games in the series where you've got the answer card deck.
Yeah, you have like 12 different decks with clues and then the answer.
And then you also have the, of course, the spinning wheel for...
Yeah.
Which all played... If you played Exit the Games, this really did not add much of anything to the formula. Everything was pretty standard. Mm-hmm. Now, they don't always have to innovate. This has been a pretty cool and interesting series overall, and it was innovative in itself. So it's not like I feel like every game needs to be an innovation.
I think the thing that they tried to do different was the different maps are the worlds.
Yeah, but they've done stuff like that before. It's not that different. So now, okay, so I'm going to let you speak for a little bit here, because you were just throwing out one of your gripes. So I kind of felt like, and you already introduced the concept of one of the issues. I felt like all of the puzzles in this particular module fell into a handful of categories. There was a small minority of puzzles that were actually good. There were a few. Like, this isn't the worst Exit the Game I've ever played. I'm not saying that. I'm not going to just, like, crap all over it. There were a few puzzles that were fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's just they were actually in the minority. I would say probably about 60% of the puzzles were not good for different reasons. And I think we should address that. Now, there were some that were good. I'd say the first puzzle was pretty fun.
Yeah, and I should have looked up what the name of that. There's a specific type of puzzle that I was familiar with beforehand because I have a Switch game that's basically...
Oh, it's the one with
puzzles.
the numbers.
Yeah, and
crossing.
I forget... Oh, maybe it's like... I don't know what it's called.
I'll put the name up on screen if Lynn remembers to tell me later.
I'm not going to remember.
Okay.
I barely remember. I think it's... I don't know. But
you look it up later, and I'll see if we find the name. If not, and if we do, I'll put the name up.
Okay, well, it was a specific type of puzzle that I knew how to play because of a Switch game that I own. But like, if you didn't know how to play that,
I was lost.
Their explanation on what to do was not very good. If neither one of us knew how to do that game, we would have been like, "What does this mean?" Like, just
and that's one of the categories. Is there were a number of them where their explanation to the puzzle was like,
we didn't really know what to do, or we could only figure out like half of what to do, and then we were lost.
So there were a number of puzzles where it would be like, okay,
I think the problem was that they were a lot of the puzzles they tried to use like that international like picture language. And it wasn't clear.
And now,
just like use your words.
Well, okay. They're not gonna. Okay, a big part of the puzzle is figuring out what you need to do. So they're not gonna just come out and tell you what to do in a puzzle, and that's not what we're saying. What I mean, what we're saying is that's usually the thing with the Exit the Game. They're not going to tell you everything. They're going to give you hints. You have to figure it out. However, the hints in this one category of puzzle, which I would say probably made up maybe 20% of the puzzles in here, rough guesstimate. They would be like one...
Picross. Picross. That's the name of it. Picross, I think. Picross.
Oh, that's the type of puzzle?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, there's like 20% of the puzzles in here where there would be one integral element to the puzzle that there was no hint about. And you'd be like I get, that you're supposed to try things and figure things out, but usually... That's not like because it would be a very important thing. It would be, and in a lot of cases, they were things that you would not naturally try. So then you have to go to the hints. We went to the hints a lot with this one for those specific puzzles. And when it told you what we were missing, you're like, there was no freaking way you could have figured that out. Like in this case, you knew what a Picross puzzle was. I didn't. I think I maybe might have figured that one out, but there were worse ones. Like there was one where it was very obvious that you had to line up. One object over another object, and we're like, but it doesn't fit anywhere. And then we go through the hints, and it's like, oh yeah, you have to stand 3 feet above the object and look over. And it was like, what? So like you never would have gotten it.
Yeah.
So that was the first category that you addressed. Now the second category I want to address is there were a lot of puzzles that were highly imprecise, and there's some crossover between that first category of puzzles that had that didn't give you all the hints you needed to figure it out, and the imprecise ones. Because in that one where you're holding it 3 feet above it, again, if you were at a slight angle, which is very difficult to be precise when you're literally holding something above the table like this and looking down over it. If you're at a slight angle, you're going to mess it up and it's not going to work. And there were multiple puzzles where I was like, even when I knew when I was doing it right, I wasn't sure if I was getting the right answers because they were really imprecise. And that's something that I'm not used to seeing in Exit the Game. Usually their puzzles and the way to get the answers are very precise. And once you get it, you're like, boom, mind blown. This is amazing. I have the answers. This one was like, I think I'm doing this right, but I'm really not sure if it wants me to say blue or pink, There were a bunch of those.
Yeah.
And again, some of the ones that went into your category, the first thing you were complaining about, also qualified in this category as well. And then those puzzles were really bad.
Well, I think that I know I personally prefer the ones where you have one puzzle and you need to solve this puzzle in order to go to the next puzzle. And this one had pieces of different puzzles all over the place.
Yeah.
Like, the worlds had multiple puzzles on them, but you didn't do anything with those puzzle pieces until like the end.
Yeah, there was stuff that you got that you didn't use until way later.
Yeah, and by that point, you've forgotten about the first world. There's like 7 worlds, and then you're looking at like the thing, and you're like, what am I supposed to do? I don't even understand this. So we looked at the cards, and it's like, oh, in the first world, and we're like, that was like 2 hours ago.
Well, now I'm gonna a little bit disagree with you on that, but only because I don't find that in general to be as much of a problem. My bigger problem was that I was having trouble with enjoying the individual puzzles themselves. Like, I don't mind it if it's in a better exit the game module. It's just I felt that this one was not a better exit the game module.
Well, I was just remembering that was the dungeon, the other one we didn't like.
Oh, no, the dungeon was... no, the catacombs.
Whatever. Well, the other one we didn't like was like that. It was like, it had like 3 puzzles going at a time, and you could solve them, you had to solve them all to move on, but you could solve them in whatever order you wanted, and it was just, it's overwhelming. Give me one puzzle, let me finish that puzzle, and give me a second puzzle. Don't give me all these pieces that I can't even use yet.
And that one was also, similarly, that one also had a lot of very imprecise puzzles too, which again is out of the ordinary, because generally the age of the games are good. I would say that this one and that one have been kind of aberrations. Also, some other... first off, let me give you a chance. Do you have another category of things you want to complain about that you can think of? You just did, actually. You did. All right, so let me throw another one.
Giving me all these clues that I can't use yet.
That you can't use yet. Okay, so I'm going to give another category of puzzles that I want to complain about with this... with in the gate between worlds, which is there was these puzzles in here. They weren't terrible. I would say that these were puzzles that were not... There were a few, like I said, that were good. But these weren't good. They just weren't really terrible. There were some that were just like super pushovers. Mm-hmm. Like, there were a bunch of puzzles where we read the instructions and were immediately like, okay, this is how you solve it. And like, it took literally like no time at all, because they really felt bizarrely easy.
Yeah.
And
there was at least 2 where we did it in like under 30 seconds.
Yeah, it was like it was really strange. And like, but I mean, it wasn't that the puzzle was bad. The puzzle made sense. The puzzle worked. It's just that it was...
they weren't challenging.
They weren't challenging, and it really made this feel like the quality and also difficulty level of the puzzles was ludicrously inconsistent. Because like usually they try to stay more consistent, based on the number of difficulty stars, and this one really just wasn't. It was not consistent. Your turn. You got something else you want to throw out?
I don't know.
So, all right. Well, let's see. With one of the other things I want to talk about is the fact that the Gate Between Worlds is a sequel to another module.
It was like it says it in the book. It's something. The night in the cemetery or something. Yeah,
well, whichever it was, it said it's a sequel.
I don't think it says it on the back. It says it in the book.
Yeah, it doesn't even really tell you that anywhere. And it says...
that you don't need to have played the other one, which we haven't.
So we're coming at this as someone who hasn't played the other one. And I gotta tell you, there wasn't much of a setup of the storyline of this at all. Usually the storylines are more interesting, and this one is just sort of like you've stepped through a portal and now you're bouncing around between dimensions. It sounds like a really cool concept, sounds really interesting, except because they didn't even tell us anything about ourselves or why we're doing this, I didn't feel attached to the story at all. I know it's generally a background thing and something that you don't focus on super with these games, but it, like, literally, I had no attachment to the storyline of this. Like, usually you have at least a little bit.
Yeah.
This, I was like, it could have been anything. Mm-hmm. I felt like no attachment to the storyline.
It's like discount Stargate.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, with the theme, I was like, oh, this is going to be really cool. This is going to be a really cool theme. But then it didn't really do anything with it. I felt very... Yeah, I felt really kind of let down by this one. Again, not the worst I've ever played. That would still be the Catacombs. Catacombs was absolutely dreadful. But by the end of this, I was we weren't even quite done with it, and I was already like, if I wasn't playing this for a review, I would stop. Like, we were playing it for a review, so we kept going. But I was like, if we weren't doing this for a review at this point, I think we're about 60, 70% of the way through. And I was like, if we weren't doing this for a review, I would probably stop playing it. This is not a very good entry to the series. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about negative?
No.
Okay, so we touched on a little bit of the positives, that there were a few fun puzzles. There were, I felt there were some fun puzzles, but I did feel that the fun puzzles were hampered by two main things. One, I felt that all the fun puzzles were not necessarily very unique to this particular module. There were puzzle types I had seen before in other modules, so it was nothing new, and it was like stuff that involved using things in ways that you might not have realized how to use them. Like, oh, this is kind of cool. I didn't even really think that this might be there, but it wasn't mind blowing. It was like, okay, they're all right, and then also they're really hampered by the fact that so many of the other puzzles just were subpar. What are your thoughts on? Do you have anything positive to add, really, or?
I enjoyed doing the Picross puzzle.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one wasn't bad.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the better puzzles in here. I would say the first puzzle was really good. I don't want to give away how that puzzle worked, because if I do, I'd be giving away how to do that puzzle. I mean, we're not going to be recommending this game to you, but I'd still like to do these reviews spoiler free. But yeah, I'm definitely not going to recommend this to anyone. Would you recommend this?
No, I don't think so.
You would not recommend it. Okay, yeah. So, all right. Generally speaking, this is going to be not a positive review. We've talked about it a bit. I don't know what your number is going to be. Do you want to go first or second on rating it?
I'll go first.
Go ahead. How many stars out of 10 will you give to Exit the Game: The Gate Between Worlds?
I'm gonna give it 4. I didn't enjoy it. It was fine. Like, I mean, I played it. I don't want to play it again.
No. I mean, you only played these things once anyway, but
you know what I mean.
I'm right there with you. I'm also a 4, where it's like, it's not the worst thing ever, but it's not good. It's certainly not good. And I mean, the thing is with these is you're getting them to play over one night and have an enjoyable experience with friends, and you don't want to get a dud. And this is not one I would recommend to you. I really feel like this one missed the mark. I really do feel like this one is a dud. Again, we've got a lot of other reviews of other modules up on the channel for the Exit the Game series. Most of them are very positive. I think this is only the second negative review we've had to give to the series. So the series overall is very good. So yeah, check out some of those other reviews, because a lot more of them would be much better, money well spent on having a fun night with you and 1 to 3 friends playing and Exit the Game. But yeah, not The Gate Between Worlds. We're gonna have to give this one a 2 thumbs down. Where's your thumb?
Right here.
Give it a down. There we go. 2 thumbs down review, because yeah, we didn't really like this one. It didn't really click with us. So there you have it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns on The Gate Between Worlds or this video, feel free to put them in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this review of a escape room game, you'd like to see us do more like it, be sure to give it a like, share it on all forms of social media, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Captain. That's Captain spelled with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on.